I'd like to start this video off by saying I am not a financial advisor. Should you choose to invest in Bitcoin or any other asset, do your own research or seek the advice of an actual financial advisor. Now, I thought I'd show you guys something real quick. And on the 3-day on the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index, well, I'm fucking it up. There's a gap, and it happens to be between the 200 simple moving average and the 200 exponential moving average, and that got this. It's just weird how this happened. This 3-day candle closed sitting on the 200 simple moving average, and then this one opened below the 200 exponential moving average, and the gap between them is equivalent to the gap between the two candles. Just almost, well, not exactly. If you zoom in a little bit, you'll see that the lower candle is actually poked above the 200 exponential moving average, but still, it's something. It's really something how this managed to happen just like that. That's weird. I thought I'd show you guys that. It's really not relevant to anything, but I just thought it was pretty cool. Anyways, moving on. Okay, the S&P 500. As you can all see, well, you don't even have to look at my chart here to know that the market has been falling. We did get a bounce off of the support down here at 28.52, but the next weekly candle has opened, and since it's opened, it has in fact dropped. It hasn't gone back down through the 28.52 support yet, but that still remains a possibility. This could be sell-offs that happened during the weekend that just triggered during the open of the S&P 500. There still remains a chance that we could bounce from here, but there's still just as much chance as we could go back down to the support and maybe break it, especially with all the fear that's still widespread in the markets, outside the markets, everywhere. I think I've seen somebody wearing a mask the other day, even though the coronavirus has not gotten anywhere near where I live, but whatever. I mean, of course they could have been wearing a medical mask for some other reason. They could have had a compromised compromised immune system. But yeah, there's a lot of fear out in the market. So if we do break this support, there's another support at 28.05, and then there's another support at 27.32. Now, should these break, we do have support down here. Well, we have our 200 weekly moving average and our 200 exponential moving averages down here, and those actually, I think those provided support back here. Yeah, those provided support back here during the downturn of 2018. Of course, that turned into a V market, and we had a nice bounce there, and we kind of just went on our way back upward. Same thing happening now. I mean, it could happen, but we'll just have to wait and see. Market, there's, like I said, I've said fear like I don't know how many times in the past couple of videos that I made, but there's just too much fear out there to have any certainty of a bounce anytime soon. But of course, it still could happen. Moving on. Okay, well, first off, I'm sure when I said that gap at the beginning of the video was not relevant to anything, I mean more or less not relevant to anything that I'm talking about in this video. I'm sure somebody somewhere will find relevance in that gap between the moving averages and the two candles in something, and then they see my video and they'll be like, oh, it's relevant to this, or it's relevant to that. I just wanted to point out that I don't see any relevance of it to anything else in my video. I just want to make that clear, because I know how some people can be. Anyways, Bitcoin. Nothing much has changed with Bitcoin. I still see the inverse head and shoulders happening. We have found support on the legacy trend, the secondary legacy trend line here. We're likely to fall through it. We're probably going to end up going down to 8.2k, 8,000. Some people are calling for 7,700, 7,600, and I'm guessing that means to fill that 7.7k gap. That's on the CME futures. But personally, I don't see any reason to fill that gap. Not every gap has to be filled, and I believe that as we go on with this next run from after the halving to its next peak, there's likely going to be a lot more gaps that don't get filled, but that's my personal opinion. Yeah. So the furthest I see it's going down is probably to 8,000. If we do go down further than that, then our next major support support that we need to look at is the legacy trend line, the main legacy trend line. If we break that, then I guess the next major support would be the 200 exponential moving average on the weekly. I don't think we should go that. We really need to stay above this low right here, or we're going to see some major downside with Bitcoin, and that's just not going to look good. So we need to stay up. But the probability of us going down below this previous low of 6,400 is still very low, despite the fact that there's a lot of fear in the market. I don't think that we will have to worry about going back that low again. If we break 8,000, maybe then we'll end up going down past 7,700 to fill that gap, despite the fact that I don't see any reason to fill it. But I'm just a guy on YouTube. Sometimes I could be wrong. Personally, I don't see us going below 8,000 now, but that remains to be seen. Anything else regarding Bitcoin and its current technicals, just look back at my previous video, because other than the fact that we have dropped a little bit during the weekend to 8,500, nothing else has changed. We're still in the same downtrend. We're kind of just like stalled out. We're bouncing between 8.4k and 8.7k, 8.8k, something like that. We haven't really moved much over the past couple of days, but yeah, just check out my last video if you want further details into where I see it's going, where both short-term and long-term, and whatever else, and why I don't believe that we're going too much further, and why all of this could technically be considered a bull market. But yeah, moving on. Actually, before I move on, there's not likely going to be a gap coming out of this when the CME futures opens again. There's not likely to be a gap, because we've been bouncing in the same general range since Friday to now. We haven't really moved much, so yeah, I don't see a gap forming. So there's likely not going to be a gap that's going to need to be filled once we open Monday, unless we dramatically drop or dramatically jump before CME futures opens. There's not going to be a gap. Now, moving on. Alright, first off, Bitcoin dominance is still sitting at 64%. That hasn't moved. As a matter of fact, the entire market hasn't really moved much. Bitcoin, like I said, it's been trading in range. It's only down 0.74%. It hasn't even moved a full percentage. Ethereum's only down 1%. XRP down 1.7%. Bitcoin Cash up 1.1%. Bitcoin SV actually pumped almost 7%. Litecoin down 1%. EOS barely moved. Binance Coin down 3%. Tezos down 5%. Chainlink down 6%. Tezos and Chainlink, they're kind of just jumping up and down. They really can't seem to pick a direction, but they both have held themselves pretty well during this downturn. And Cardano here is down almost 4%. Stellar is down 2%, Monero down 3%, Tron down 1%. So there is more red than green in the market today, but the drops overall don't seem to be too significant. So we're just gonna have to wait and see what Monday brings as far as price action goes. Let's see if there's any news worth talking about. Okay, yeah, here's a news article for you guys. But before I get into this news article, I want to point out the. Actually, I want to ask you something. Do you always see how I say to do your own research at the beginning of every one of my videos, and how you'll see a lot of other YouTubers say to do your own research? Want to know what happens when you don't do your own research? When people don't do their own research? News articles like this happen. Who needs cryptocurrency FedCoin when we already have a national digital currency? Okay, let's see what this has to say. The cryptocurrency enthusiasts are at it again with a new name and even more ambitious goals than before. Now they want a national digital currency. Hurry, the Chinese will beat us to it, and we'll be left behind. Somehow, no one in the debate acknowledges the obvious fact that we already have a national digital currency. No, we don't. Because it's not a fact. Okay, he's referring to the US dollar being, the fact, like, you know how you can access your bank account online and you can see a digital display of how much you have in your account and you can use it to pay for online purchases and all that? That is a digital representation of a fiat currency. That is not a digital currency. Okay, continuing. Anyways, he goes on to say, it's fast. No, it's not fast. Try to send a lot of money across, or try to send money across seas to a different country, and see how long it actually takes. It's not going to be it's not going to happen in 1 day. It's not going to happen in 2 days. It may not even happen in 5 days. It's cheap. No, it's not cheap. They have fees out the ass for money transfers like that. Yes, it might be secure, but no, it's not fast and it's not cheap. You send fuck. There's a fee for fucking everything nowadays when you're dealing with banks. So cheap is not a word you would use to describe banks to begin with. Cheap is not a word you would use to describe long distance money transfers. Like, say if you're trying to send somebody let's say if you try to send somebody $5,000 and they're like in Russia or something, you're gonna get hit with a lot of fucking fees to send that $5,000. It's not gonna arrive there. It's not gonna arrive there anytime soon either. By the time they get that $5,000, they'll probably no longer need it. Now, say if you send Bitcoin to Russia, they'll get it within the same day, and there's a transfer fee that is very, very, very minute. So, like, you see, yeah, Bitcoin, you can send millions of dollars through the Bitcoin blockchain, and it would only cost like a couple of dollars, if that. I don't know where this guy got his information from, but clearly, honestly, I think he's making half of this shit up. To be honest, oh my, wow, I don't even know what else to say about this article. I'm going to leave the link to this article in the description below, and you guys can check it out, but this makes you just, I don't even know. Anyways, the markets, be careful out there. There's still a lot of fear in the markets. Be careful outside the markets, because the coronavirus is still, in fact, spreading. Just, watch yourselves, and remember, always, before investing in any asset, or before, this is why you can't believe everything you see on the internet. This is a good example of why you can't believe everything that you read on the internet. Always do your own research. With that, that is all I have for you guys today. I will see you all next time.